Hello?
Doc, where you at
Just
right
got
now?
back to Yokohama, actually. You weren't spying.
Just noticed? Everywhere you went, I know about.
Where
Over
are
at the Leomont's place. Hoshino-kun and Higashi are here too.
Oh, right. They mentioned they were going to Yokohama to see
Make
a
your way
hospital.
over, will you?
Well, look at you taking charge.
Don't track your...
What a waste.
Everyone but the star.
That is next level ass kissing, Hoshino-kun.
A good ass. Welcome back, Yagami.
Grab a seat. Nice. So you're...
Just to give Sari-san.
Does that mean I don't need to be
Huh? How would I know?
Yagami's there, I don't see why you got... You're on thin ice, Hoshino-kun.
I have been plenty useful.
Should a lawyer really have to say that?
Man, the gangster just put the...
Well, that's all I got. So where's Kuwana?
Yeah, about that.
RK's out there looking for him too. They seem to think I've still got...
On the flip side, that means they still have...
Well, yes. Although...
You think Kawana-san's still in one piece after...
Alive? Yes. When I saw him, he was already making plans. The real problem is what happens now that he knows Reiko Kusamoto betrayed him.
I'd never let that slide if I were... Maybe Kuwana's thinking the same thing.
Hoshino-kun, Higashi.
Yeah.
Turns out Ahara and his old lady don't really... After her son took his life 4 years back, only reason she hasn't divorced him is because it's too much of a pain to process.
She's been living in that same apartment even when Toshiro... She let us light some incense.
What's the word on Ark?
Everywhere you look, they're strutting around like they own the place. They stare us down, but never get...
Plus, they're acting like they're here to stay. They've been harassing the joints we have.
Harassing how?
You know, shit like pretending to be normal customers and dying down. Then another guy will come in and be like, need protection?
That's some Yakuza shit.
Old shit, too. A Yakuza who pulls that today is out in one shot under the anti...
And Soma?
Nah, there's nothing on him. And Soma isn't exactly a social butterfly like Akutsu.
Especially if he has public security's help. Unless it's a...
That about wraps.
Seems so. As for me, I think I'll head out and see what I can find.
Same.
Tsukumo-san and Sugiura-san do some
Yeah. You don't hold a candle to them, Hope.
Black belt in karate, and you never even...
Well, I'm just more of a behind the scene. Anyway, I'm heading back to Kamurocho.
What about you, Talk? Want to call it a night? Tesso...
Now skin off my back.
So, what'll it...
If I can really stay the night.
Hey, Yagami-san. Really? He's upstairs. Let's go, Yagami-san. Yeah, let's go. I thought I could keep up. Hold up, Yagami-san.
What's up?
Yagamishi, this is Tsukumo. Koda-san and Akane-san are with some men. About
Where's Kaito-san and Higashi?
I've contacted them.
Good.
They're on their...
Hey! He's here! It's Yagami!
Talk. This where those RK guys are holed up? He's Soma with them?
Nobody's had eyes on him yet. Just a sec. Tsukumo?
I've confirmed the enemy position, Yagami-shi. They have our 2 young hostages surrounded, so a head-on assault would be too dangerous. Naturally, I've already come up with some countermeasures we can run. Would you care to hear my plan?
You always come through, man. Okay then. Walk us through it.
Wow. Look who decided to show up. Too scared to come with all your little bodyguard buddies?
Not like you've got room to talk. How many shitheads does it take to watch these girls?
I never thought it would end up like this. You believe me, don't you?
Yeah. But we'll have to save the lecture for after all this is over. You'll be free soon. That goes for you too, Koda-san.
You so sure about that?
You kidnapped them to get to me? Well, here I am, so let's go.
We did lure you here, so we can beat your sorry ass to death.
Okay then. So what was your plan? Throw all these guys at us as soon as we kick down the door?
We're smarter than that, you know.
Yeah. We knew you'd have some backup!
Here comes! Let's take out the trash! Yagami! Hands where I can see them! And same for you two!
Hey, calm down. I've got one more thing. I'm not a big fan of guns.
Huh? Shit! Up there!
Face the wrath of Ijitsu Yokohama 99! The wicked shall be smited and retribution shall be swift!
Come on. Did you really think one gun was enough to take out a crew like us? If you did, you were wrong.
You two sit tight a little longer. But just to warn you, I'm gonna go hard on these guys. You wanna see some asses kicked? Don't blink, okay?
Let's get going. I want him down before the smoke clears.
Yeah. Come on!
Step away from the window! Here we go! I shall assist you! We are ready to go! We are ready to go! We are ready to go! I shall assist you! I shall assist you! Here we go! I shall assist you! I shall assist you!
Thanks. You saved us. I'm so sorry.
No. I'm the one who got you into this. It's not your fault, it's Arcade. Besides, I'm not the one you should be apologizing.
Coda, it's all right. Well...
Soma?
What? Who?
Kane, get back!
Huh?
Here all by yourself? What are you...
Oh, I'm just here to talk. To be honest...
How so?
Well, he's got Kawai's body. Reiko Kusamoto's victim. Been on ice for what? 5 years?
Yeah.
Problem is, he's planning to reveal its... If that happens, Kusamoto-san, no doubt, her fingerprints and other traces...
Yeah, but that's for the better. Means she won't have to listen.
Reiko Kusamoto is a capable woman who can swim with the tide. It would be unfortunate to lose her over some lowlife. She's on our side now.
So it's your duty to protect...
I protect order, not people.
Necessary.
That's right. If I hadn't gone undercover, the Tojo clan's ex-Yakuza would be spread. If that happened, we never would have been able to. That's why I created the Arcane Network. To keep Kamurocho much safer and less messy than. But in the shadow of order, there's always a.
Right. Kawana.
But if there's one difference between the two of us, it's that I find my work enjoyable. It gives me purpose. When I dirty my hands, it's in the service of order. It goes back to a necessary evil to maintain peace in this country. In my eyes, peace does require violence. It only works when killers are below the surface, keeping it afloat.
Sawa-sensei too? Is that the peace you want?
Yoko Sawa? She did have to die. She almost connected the Mikoshiba case to Kawana. She was getting very close to it. She may even have figured out Reiko Kusamoto was involved. The fewer people who know a secret, the better kept the secret stays. I don't remember even hesitating on that call. And I think that means... Well, you guys won't like hearing this, but it was justified.
You asshole!
Whoa, whoa. Don't fly off the handle now. I haven't finished what I had to say.
What the fuck?
Did I mention how much of a pain in the ass Kuwana made this? He negotiated for your lives, using Kawai's body as leverage over us.
What?
So relax, would you? I don't plan on killing you here.
Then why even show your sorry face?
The trial for Ehara-san is coming up, right? You know, the groping thing. I've come here with a request that I hope you'll consider.
This from you?
Reiko Kusamoto's name is not to come up during the Ehara trial. That shouldn't be so hard, right? Shirosaki-sensei would have to agree to this too.
And if we were to refuse?
Nothing. It's Kusamoto-san's request. She's asking nice.
What?
A mother doesn't want her child branded a murderer's son. Could you give her that much? And that's all. I'm sure we'll talk soon.
You think so, huh? Why put off what we can settle now? Soma! Akane!
Akane-chan! Why am I...
A paint gun? You okay?
That son of a...
Well, hell, that's gotta hurt. But a bruise sure beats the alternative, right?
Yeah. Okay.
I'd say he got us good with that one.
Yeah. But that was a terrible call. If Soma hadn't been packing a paint gun, that would have been really bad. You two are more important than him. I should have prioritized protecting you.
Yagami-san.
You've been brave. I'm sure this was really scary for you. We'll need to do things one step at a time, Kaito-san. We can't tackle it all at once. First thing, Ehara's groping appeal needs to become a murder trial that outs Kawana and his students. That way, if public security is our real enemy here, we'll have the prosecution and the courts on our side. That'll be on me. I'll reveal a truth no one can deny.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty much your specialty. Send that asshole to jail for good.
You've got this, Yagami-san.
Whoa. This is crazy. Why is he so hot? Am I right?
Huh. Just a minute ago, she got shot. And now look at her.
Teenagers. Hello? Oversleep? I would never... Held on violation of Shinjuku Station's anti-nuisance ordinance, he was previously convicted. However, the defense wholly rejects the sexual battery charge and asserts his innocence.
The prosecution points to two pieces of evidence to prove. One is the security camera footage from Ike. The other is fiber traces from the victims. The defense maintains this was not sufficient evidence. We have prepared counter-arguments to...
How does the prosecution...
We maintain the original sentence was perfectly adequate.
Then first, let's examine the security footage from Ikebukuro and Shinjuku Station submitted at the first trial. This is footage of Ikebukuro Station on October. The individual wearing sunglasses and a mask is believed to be the defendant. This person remains in the area for over an hour, watching as countless trains make their stops. At 9:06 a.m., he locates the victim of this case. Then he boards the train and pursues her. This footage of the station platform is from when the suspect and victim board the train car.
We already saw this during the first trial. Let's not be redundant.
Of course not. The victim claimed the defendant moved in a suspicious manner once the train left Ikebukuro Station, ultimately placing his hand under her skirt. After they arrived at Shinjuku Station 6 minutes later, the victim gathered her courage and grabbed his hand. However, there's a possibility the offender seen here is not the defendant himself, but a different person entirely, a stand-in. The goal was to disguise this event as an alibi for the murder which occurred in Yokohama that same morning. In other words, this instance of sexual battery was a conspiratorial fabrication. The original verdict was issued without taking this into consideration, resulting in an inadequate trial.
This is merely speculation. The defense has no proof to support...
Precisely the...
Yes, there is indeed no definitive proof that confirms the existence. However, the notion itself cannot be disproved, even with all of the prosecution's evidence.
Would you care to elaborate, please?
The assailant fled the train and was caught shortly after on the Shinjuku Station platform. Many nearby passengers filmed the scene, which then circulated throughout Japan. The impact may have been greater since the defendant was an active duty officer. There's no mistake that the man apprehended at the platform was the defendant. Upon arrival, station police arrested him and immediately performed a trace element inspection. With that said, there's a very real possibility the offender who ran off the train was an entirely different person. We have the evidence to prove that. If you'll kindly look at...
What is this? Display it on the large monitor, please.
That's correct, Your Honor. First, the victim and the offender ran onto the platform as soon as the train doors opened. The train car they boarded is here on this map. We've marked the offender's route with an arrow. The lighter areas on the overhead view are within the security camera's line of sight. More people pass through Shinjuku than anywhere on Earth in a single day. It's packed with security cameras. However, This arrow with the dotted line reveals the existence of a small blind spot. That's where the defendant and stand-in swapped places.
I see. So you claim this was their opportunity?
Yes. As such, I'd like to... Defendant, when you were issued the verdict in your first trial, you said the following to the judge. In a warehouse about 3 days ago, a body turned up in Yokohama. If that wasn't enough, you correctly identified the body as Hiro Mikoshiba, despite the fact the police had yet to do so. How did you manage to pull off such a feat?
It came to me in a dream. Strange, I know.
Mikoshiba-san was your son Toshiro-kun's classmate, was he not?
That's right.
Toshiro Ihara was found dead in his apartment 4 years ago. He took his own life. Afterward, the defendant sued the school over Toshiro-kun's suicide.
Yes?
Ihara-san, can you tell us why you sued the school?
There were rumors my son had been bullied. Unfortunately, the court wasn't able to substantiate that claim.
And these rumors were discovered on the internet?
They were.
Of the bullies mentioned, Mikoshiba-san's name was among them. Were you aware of this?
I was.
Would you say you harbored murderous intent against Mikoshiba-san?
Objection. The defense's question is irrelevant. This case is to examine whether or not sexual battery took place. Also, the Kanagawa police are actively investigating Hiro Mikoshiba's murder. The courtroom is no place for baseless speculation.
How does the defense respond?
The timing of the battery incident makes this case an alibi for Mikoshiba-san's murder. We believe there's a very relevant connection.
Very well. The prosecution's objection is overruled.
Then please keep it brief.
Just as soon as the defendant answers the question. Did you harbor murderous intent for Hiro Mikoshiba?
Of course I did.
In other words, Your Honor, it goes like this. On the day Toshiro-kun's bully, Mikoshiba-san, was killed, the defendant set out to synchronize the murder with sexual battery. It became his alibi for the murder, and the prosecution and the court all but approved it. A 6-month sentence for sexual battery and getting away with murder. That's all the motivation the defendant needed to fabricate this elaborate scheme. His stand-in groped his accomplice, and then they swapped places before getting caught. It's all entirely possible.
Then the defense should present some evidence to prove it.
Wrong. That's not how this works, is it? The prosecution bears... If we go through all the evidence and discover the possibility, then it's on the prosecution to refute that.
Fine. The defense's argument about the security camera's blind spot is flimsy at best. While the defendant was running, his female victim was chasing after him. Surely the victim would have seen if he had switched places with a stand-in. Yet the victim provided no...
The victim, Yui Mamiya?
Objection! This is an insult to the victim.
We have good reason. In fact, that's all...
A 50-something man...
Defendant, why did you agree to...
You can ask my lawyers that.
How does the defense...
It's just as the defendant says. However, we believe to refresh his memory. I'd like him to take a look at some footage.
Now what?
But please, don't display this on the large monitor. We shouldn't shock the public.
Excuse me.
As I said, this is solely to refresh your memory.
Please proceed.
That's just internet footage with no known origins.
No. This footage is from the SD card in the camera used to record it. This is a write once, read many card, also known as a worm. The police use it to photograph evidence. Anything recorded on it is highly reliable data. After serving your time, you intended to release this to the public. But Kawana can't wait for that to happen. And that's why he left it in my care.
Don't kill me. Please. I'm sorry. Toshiro-kun. I'll make it up to him. I swear I'll try to make it up to him somehow. Stop it! Stop it! Stop it!
Defendant, in that footage, is the person in the white raincoat you?
You could say it looks like me.
The person you killed is Hiro Mikoshiba. According to the autopsy report, he died sometime after 7:30 a.m. on October 7th. Therefore, it can only be that the person who passed through the ticket gate shortly after at 7:43 a.m. was not you, but your stand-in. As the defense, we cannot allow our client's conviction of sexual battery. May we continue questioning the—
How does the prosecution—
Even if the footage has an irrefutable source, that alone does not prove guilt of murder. I'd just like to state that in advance.
So the prosecution is denying the murder? Remind me who exactly—
Good question.
The defense repeatedly mentions a stand-in, but where is— Who even— The person on the station security footage was wearing sunglasses, but he looked just—
We believe he used a mask made— If you look closely, the alleged defendant at Ikebukuro Station and on the train. We learned this from sources who may have been the stand-in and the—
Then we should call them to the stand.
No need. The defendant—
I don't know anything.
He said he doesn't know. So what now? The defendant admitted to sexual battery, not murder. The murder footage has excellent production value, but nothing else corroborates the defense's claims.
Your Honor, I would like to request further witness testimony from the victim.
Denied. Both the defendant and the victim certified the validity of the battery, leaving no room. It would be unprecedented for a victim to testify further in this situation.
By that logic, there's no precedent for using battery as an alibi for murder either.
I will admit there is but I must once again
But—
Defense, I've made myself clear.
Your Honor, following the defendant's last statement, we have a—
Understood.
What's next?
As for Hiro Mikoshiba's—
I work for the Tokyo Metropolitan Police. Anything in Kanagawa is out of my jurisdiction.
All of his fingers were broken. A clear sign his killer helped.
Then the investigation would start with— That's all I can really say.
You believed Mikoshiba pushed your son to the point— Sounds like you have every reason—
Your Honor, this is going nowhere.
Sustained. Defend.
You're an active duty police officer.
It would be ridiculous to— But in my past, I took down criminals in the name of justice and tried to make a difference, even around the time of my son's end. As fate would have it, that same— If I had to pick a moment, my pride as a— Not that it matters.
Suppose not, huh? Ihara-san, you're familiar with Jin Kawana, aren't you?
Nope. Never.
On October 7th, Kawana disguised himself as you and boarded a train in Ikebukuro bound for Shinjuku. He was the stand-in for—
Your Honor, no evidence has been submitted to— The name Kawana was not present on any document.
Kawana is the very person who encouraged the defendant to murder Mikoshiba-san.
Defense. As the prosecution has stated, no one by the name of We've not even confirmed if he exists.
But, Your Honor, Kawana is a key— Without him, Ihara-san never would have killed Mikoshiba. Am I getting through to you? No. You Kawana's the one who fanned the flames of vengeance. You do— Take a listen to this.
What is it?
It wasn't just some random internet post that made you decide to kill Mikoshiba-san. Even while battling the school in court, you still didn't know for sure who pushed— That's when Kawana came to you with this—
Toshiro-kun came running to the roof. His face was pretty swollen. And a few minutes later, a student named Mikoshiba came up looking for him. I'll never forget the fear I saw in Toshiro-kun's face.
That's the voice of Yokosawa, the teacher Toshiro-kun confided in about being bullied 4 years ago. It was recorded in secret and played for the defendant by Kawana.
He told me about everything. The teasing, the beatings, the theft. How nobody was on his side. And yet, I had to deny all this in front of an entire courtroom. Believe me, I never wanted to do that. They said there was no hope, that I was the only witness with no proof whatsoever.
After hearing this, the defendant came to believe Mikoshiba-san's unchecked aggression toward Toshiro was the driving force behind his son's tragic suicide. And ultimately, this became his motivation for murdering Mikoshiba. Isn't that right, Ihara-san? I see.
Then, is that all? Can the defense...
This recording only came into my hands by me, except, thinking about it now, much like the murder footage, that would qualify as an unreliable source. What? We live in an age where audio and video footage...
What?
Sawa-sensei, the one speaking in the recording, was murdered only days ago. And the one who recorded it, Kawana, disappeared without a trace. Meaning that as far as this recording is concerned, no one is left who can prove that it's authentic. Or is my understanding incorrect? You would say you're completely unaware of the details about your son in this recording. Kawana had it. Didn't he play it for you?
I never heard it. Regardless of the content, it has nothing to do with me.
So you say. In that case, let's just assume then that Kawana and I are the only ones in possession of this audio recording. And considering that Kawana has all but vanished without a trace, that would actually make this the only copy, and me the sole owner. No backup exists.
What are you getting at?
This has no value in this courtroom, then I'm afraid it's never gonna have a value beyond today. And being that you claim it's unrelated to you or this case, then it wouldn't bother you if I were to delete it from my phone right here and now.
Why would... That's crazy. I wouldn't!
Okay. Then tell me why I shouldn't do it.
Because Mikoshiba was a man who should never have escaped being judged. That's the proof of my son's pain. The proof that everyone ignored. That recording is all I have left of him! I took the school to court because Toshiro deserved justice. But all they could say is that the cause of his suicide couldn't be determined. In the end, not a single person was held responsible. No proof, no justice. My son was hung out to dry.
Yes. That's all true.
All of you. You're all so incompetent. You see yourselves as these paragons of law and justice, yet the truth slips right through your fingers. And then, my alibi made you a mockery. I made it so real. You passed me off as just another pervert. You were gullible. Every single one of you. Toshiro threw his life away and justice was blind to his pain. Mikoshiba walked free because of you. You condone murder and call yourselves the law. That's why I did it. I took Mikoshiba's life with my own hands.
This is coming in hot. Remember that pervert cop? Turns out he's actually a murderer.
To recap, you killed Hiro Mikoshiba in Ijincho, then headed to Shinjuku Station where you and Kawana pulled off a switch, and there you were ultimately arrested as a groper.
Yeah. That's right.
Defendant, you bear animosity for the whole system. We can't just take your words at face value. If you're responsible for Mikoshiba-san's murder, Can you bring forward any evidence, or just the murder footage?
To tell you the truth, I have something that I was holding on to for the impact that it would have. It's very real evidence that the law has failed us.
What have you been hiding then? Will it prove you killed Mikoshiba?
Yes.
Then what is it?
If you go to my wife's apartment, you'll find my son's altar there. In it, you'll find the weapon I used for the crime, the knife I murdered him with. It still has Mikoshiba's blood on it.
Wait a minute, Genda-sensei. I prayed at that altar.
Well, I guess you can lead a horse to water.
Very well then. We'll open an investigation.
Defense. Will there be anything further?
No matter how justified, vengeance is not something we can ever take into our own hands. That said, in the case of Ahara-san, our system failed him. We know the law strives to be just, but it failed to prove Toshiro-kun was bullied. That's not justice. Not when no one is held responsible. The law, as well as those who enforce it, are far from perfect. So to the court, I say let this case be a lesson. The law is failing to save people who need saving.
It's clear proceedings should be adjourned. At a later time when Mikoshiba-san's murder weapon is recovered, we can resume the trial. I'm willing to do that via a special exception. Defense, prosecution, is that clear?
No objections.
The defense rests, Your Honor.
Well, Kanagawa PD called from the Ehara residence. They've recovered the knife. I'm ashamed to admit that I was so blind to his scheme.
Well then, that makes two of us.
Seems I underestimated you. And the worst part of all, I was arrogant. Legal authority and organizational connections should never be held above the pursuit of truth. I'm glad you were able to make me see that again. Thank you.
Nah.
You've come a long way.
Genda-sensei.
Prosecutor Takano's been stubborn as hell from the day he passed the bar. Once he's made up his mind, nothing can stand in his way, not even his own boss. And he only bows once in a blue moon, so I hope you remember this.
Typical Genda law. I'm never going to like you.
You two really pulled it off. Great job.
It was nearly a month ago that Kusumoto saw, though we were unable to use it to trace it.
What did it say?
Soma told you, didn't? Kawana hid Shinya Kawai's body. If that surf as such.
That's exactly why I'm negotiating to prevent that. Kusumoto-san.
Yes.
I'll be upfront with you. I never imagined the day would come that you would be.
Tsukumo?
I see you've arrived in Ijincho safe and sound.
What's happening?
Oh yes. A picture began circulating on the internet not long